Just two simple questions. First, when does the security zone start and when it ends? And the second question is, can taxis go in there without passes?
First off, the fences will start to be erected approximately 2 weeks out from the summit. Once they're erected, the intention is to keep traffic and everything flowing through there until as close to the summit as possible. Now, keeping in mind that the summit begins on the Saturday morning of the 26th. So the intent is to keep them open as long as possible without any significant security threat arising on our radar. And during that time, passage of cabs and et cetera will continue as normal.
Hi. I think this is a bit of a follow-up to this gentleman's query. I don't live on the Toronto Island, but I'm getting married on the Toronto Island on June 26th.
Congratulations.
Well,
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, everybody.
Now that will be a memorable day. You won't forget it.
We're looking at it as an adventure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good luck renting a limo.
The limo we can do without. The water taxis, I'm not so sure. And again, I'm looking for some kind of clarification in terms of the ferries being rerouted, the scheduling, the availability of water taxis to rent, what kind of, is there going to be some, I mean, barring unforeseen events, some kind of security zone or in the inner harbor? The island airports, we have people arriving from all over the country and the United States. Some of them already have tickets. They're coming in on, Porter Airlines from New York City, one person we know. Yeah, well, this is it.
Okay.
Up to this point, all the assurances we keep getting is like, no, we're not closing the Toronto Island Airport. We're not, and so forth. So,
I would be happy to give you a wedding present.
yes.
If you come up to me afterwards, I will make sure that staff in my office help facilitate ensuring that your day is a good day. And we'll be all happy to have that happen. It's a very unique situation, so I'm sure we can treat it in a very unique way. So why don't we do that?
That sounds great. Thank you very much.
Hi, I live on Trinity Bellwoods Park. Yeah. So
That was a deep breath.
I know you don't want political comments, but you're a politician, and too bad. Here they come. Thank you to Mr. Tucker. I appreciate that this is a lot of coordination and what have you. But on Trinity Bellwoods Park, where I live, we have the Portuguese Festival, we have Luminato, we have construction, we have all of these different kinds of things that happen. And there's a little note that goes in our mailbox that's, lets us know that something is happening, that parking might be hard or whatever. We didn't get that. What I got was someone at my front door who was CTV as I was doing my taxes like a good girl to let me know that Trinity Bellwoods has been designated the spot. Now, I think that sucks because Toronto Dundas Square is where we all go to protest things like prorogation and the war in Iraq, and no trees will be destroyed, nothing will be compromised, and I just don't understand why that isn't happening. So that's my little political thing on the side. So, no, that's a question.
Sure.
I got a question.
There's also a question.
But and here's my question. We have drummers on Tuesday. You cannot accuse people who live in West Queen West of NIMBYism. You can't. We are open hosts with great croissants and good coffee for everyone. Methadone clinics, culture festivals, whatever, we got it, we love it. But this is not a Canada Day celebration. And, it's serious. People riot, people torch cars, people, climb trees and whatever, so it's troubling. I've got 2 kids in daycare up the street. Are you going to help us with that? Or I've got a car I'd like to park in front of my house. Et cetera, et cetera. And then I've got noise, like you're going to have media there, you're going to have people partying and whatever, and that's all good stuff. But what are you going to do? You're going to make them leave at 11 o'clock? Are there going to be police there to help us with that? Who's going to clean up the park? Who's going to fix the park? Because it's not built for this kind of thing, those are all my questions, and I think they're all really good ones.
Give you, as someone who is a neighbor to that park as well, I found about it just about the same way you did. There was no notification from city staff or from security services. It was
This is
presented
a present
to me.
from Stephen Harper.
It was presented to me through back channels through some of the social movements as to what was going on. They had been given the information prior to us being given the information. At today's meeting, we made two commitments to residents in that area. One of them was to immediately go back to Councillor Pantaloni's office, who is the ward councillor for that area, and to coordinate a public information meeting in the community as soon as possible, and we've started that process already to get the information out. That being said, it's unclear right now as to how this entire event will be staged. Yesterday, my understanding was a demonstration would end up marching to that park. Today, we've been given more details that, in fact, it'll be used as a staging ground to provide media access to the International Press Gallery that's coming for this event. Those are two very separate things, and that's changed over the last 24 hours in terms of our understanding as city councillors. So,
Is there the possibility that it could be moved to Dundas Square or to the CNE?
we have, as a city, attempted to try and move several of the events and sculpt this event in different ways to respond to what we see as critical local conditions. We have not had much success in overriding federal authorities on these issues. It is being effectively designed in Ottawa and managed in Toronto, and so we have limited scope as to how we can direct even the location of the convention, let alone where the fences are going to go. We're in a very difficult spot, and I hope you can appreciate it. So there are significant issues. As I said, I'm a neighbor to Trinity Bellwoods Park. I understand the new planting that's gone on there recently. I'm assuming that most of this event will be staged near the tennis courts, but it's a sensitive park, and we have great concern about that. We will be following up on these issues with local residents and the local councillor, and if there is any way of changing it, I think there are serious concerns there. We'll try to press those forward, but if it has to be staged there, if that's the decision that the folks up in Ottawa have decided, who also didn't know 28,000 people lived in this affected area, and on and on and on, we'll be doing our best to accommodate it. But we're finding out as you find out, and forums like this are designed to try to get the information out, to get the ideas and the concerns back to the authorities through media and through the folks that have higher up conversations, to try and make sure this has as little impact as possible on our communities. We share your concerns, and we're working very hard to change the situation.
So, aside from Olivia Chow, who do I write a letter to in Ottawa to say, hey, how about Dundas Square?
Fundamentally, I would approach the Prime Minister's office. They have carriage of most of these issues inside that government, but I also can assure you that the Mayor's office, the Deputy Mayor's office, and all of us are working very hard to make sure that when the global economy is debated, the local economy and local neighborhoods are not damaged. I can also say that part of the conversation that we've started to have with some of the social groups is to try to hope that they behave in a similar fashion and have a responsibility to the communities in a very similar way that the Tamil demonstrations on University Avenue had. The Tamil demonstrators, despite making a lot of noise and causing a disruption, actually left the street cleaner each night than they found it. They had garbage crews. They had a very extensive system of marshalling, and if we have to stage this in Trinity Bellwoods, that's beyond our control. I can assure you that all of us will be working very hard with those social movements to make sure that they practice what they preach, and that is leave behind a better earth than they found, and therefore leave behind a better park than they found. There is also compensation that has been offered to the city, not the $28 million for Huntsville in North Bay, but the federal government has offered a legacy gift of, at this point it's only $200,000, which is a bit of a, which they want us to spend on replanting trees around the convention center. But we have urged and are urging through the Mayor's office that a much more substantial understanding of what the impact of this is going to be is delivered to that office, the Prime Minister's office, and that a much more substantial commitment to the communities that have to host this federal event, that will be repaid in kind. But it's a work in progress, and as I said, there will be a follow-up meeting in the park, probably at the community center. We're working on those details with Councillor Pantaloni.
Okay.